This episode is going to be slightly different from my normal episode because I want to give you an insight into a little bit of what it is I do day to day, kind of a backstage tour of my work. So you can get an insight into how what I do actually works. But don't worry, I'll also be sharing 2 or 3 tips at the end that you can take from my work today, this week, and use to change the way you feel about your performing and let go of some of your fears. Hi, I'm Hattie Volker, founder of Find Your True Voice. I'm a qualified coach working with singers and actors and public speakers to help them feel comfortable and confident in front of any audience. I've been doing this for nearly 10 years now, showing people a different perspective, a different way of thinking that transforms how they perform. And if feeling comfortable and confident in front of an audience is something you struggle with, then just ping me an email at hattie@findyourtruevoice.co.uk. Tell me what's going on for you and I'll reply to you personally, and pretty quickly usually. So let's dive into what it is I actually do. This week is a pretty normal week. I'm currently running 3 courses, 2 intensive courses and my signature course. Alongside that, I'm doing one-to-one coaching, I'm doing one-to-one supervision, group supervision, and some mentoring for the coaching school that I do work for. So it's quite a busy week, as well as doing this sort of stuff to reach out to more people, because my aim is to help as many people as possible to feel comfortable in what they do, because the more people who can feel comfortable in performing, the more they will get out there and the more they can give to the world. That's my real aim, to reach as many people as possible. So my signature course, I'm running a live training for that tonight. Now my signature course is a course that teaches you the tools to help you feel confident and comfortable in any circumstance and in front of any audience. How to unpick your current pattern and replace it with healthier patterns. Now, this is all taken from the one-to-one work I do. It's the tools I use with my one-to-one clients, distilled into a simple online course. Now, on top of the self-study course, I sometimes offer a set of live trainings to help people get the most from that. And that's what's happening tonight. And tonight's module is all about letting go of perfectionism, because perfectionism can lead to so much self-criticism and actually cause more nerves when you perform, even though the aim of getting everything right is to reduce your nerves. Now, everyone coming along to the live training tonight will hopefully have done the module. Not everyone has, and they come along so that we can take this tool, and this tool tonight that we're talking about is a different perspective, a different way of approaching things that isn't about getting everything perfect. And despite that, and this is one of the things, so one of the people I worked with a number of years ago, John Bloomfield, he said this to me. He said, Hattie, I knew that letting go of perfectionism would help me enjoy my life more. I just didn't realize it would improve the quality of my work. And that's what this module is all about, using a different tool that actually is better at helping you produce a better quality of work than perfectionism is. Because people think if they set high standards and they aim for perfect, that's what raises their game. And actually, it's the opposite. It reduces it. So the live training, we dig into what is going on for the people on the call and make it personal to them so that they can apply those tools in what they are doing. And that's what I love about it. I can have anything up to 15, 20 people on these calls. So they're really lively calls, and I really come away from them feeling buzzy because there's been so much interaction. That's my signature course, and I'm running that tonight. Then I'm also, as I say, running 2 intensive courses, and I ran one of the sessions for one of those last night. So today I've been sending out the email with the recording from last night, because these intensive courses, as the name suggests, are quite intense. These are where we dig into these tools more deeply. They're very small groups, so 4 to 6 people, meaning you get a lot of time and my input into what is going on for you. And also because it's a small group, we start to bond over the course, and these intensive courses last 6 months. So there's an intensive bit at the beginning, and then there's support going on through 6 months. So we're really changing people's neural pathways. And last night's session was all about embedding new neural pathways, because it's all very well learning how to do something differently. But how do you make sure you keep doing it the new and better way and don't revert to your old patterns? Because we all have a tendency to revert to our old patterns. And so last night's session was digging really into laying down those new neural pathways effectively so that the new skills they've learned, because they're quite far through this course. In fact, we're getting to the stage where in a few weeks' time, they're going to be performing in the space and getting feedback on their performance in the space. And that I always love. That's a really exciting part of the course. We're not there yet, but we're coming up to it. So these people are quite far into the course. They've learned a whole load of new skills, and now we're learning how to embed those and make sure those new skills stick, or if they slip, how to get back on the right track. And as I say, they're quite intense, so I send out a recording to everybody so that they can look back over the sessions. Because when you're in the middle of it, sometimes you miss bits, or you want to go over and you say, oh, actually, that was somebody said something really good, or I said something really good, and they want to hear what they have said in the session. So I send out those recordings, and that's part of the work I do. Woven into this, between the courses I do, is my one-to-one work. And that's where it's really intensive. So it's the same sort of format as the intensive program, but it's obviously one-to-one. So people come and they sit in the space with me and we dig into what's going on for them. They still get the online course, and we're still based around the online course, but a lot more comes up in these one-to-one sessions. Say, for example, today I had a session with a lady who's been working with me. She's probably halfway through the program now. And what she said to me was really interesting. She was saying that the work that we've done together was allowing her to step into herself and really be herself. And that's truly the key to feeling comfortable in front of an audience. The healthiest way of feeling comfortable in front of an audience is to actually get comfortable with who you are and get comfortable with being yourself, because then you can layer on other characters if you're an actor or singer. Then you can lean into expressing yourself and communicating, because you're not trying to hide bits of yourself. So that's really wonderful when we get to the stage where people are really finding their true voice and being able to express who they are. And that's the one-to-one stuff. Alongside all of that, as I said, I do one-to-one supervision, group supervision, mentoring of coaches, work for a coaching school. But that's a whole nother podcast. And then alongside all of that, I do stuff like this to let people know about the work and try and encourage more people to come and find out how to express who they are, let go of their concerns about being judged, and really be able to be comfortable in front of an audience. So I promised you some tips at the end of this, and that's where I'm going now. Let's take a tip from the signature course. We're working on letting go of perfectionism. What did John mean when he said, yeah, we know that letting go of perfectionism might make life more enjoyable, but he said it actually improved the quality of his work. How does that work? If you lower your standards, how do you improve the quality of your work? And it's not really about lowering your standards, because I don't think I've ever met anybody who says, yeah, no, I've got really low standards and I don't care about my work, when it's something that matters to them, when it's their passion. It's more about taking the pressure off yourself, because the pressure doesn't improve the quality of your work. The pressure not to fail, the pressure not to mess up, actually increases anxiety and sucks the joy out of it and makes you act small. It makes you take fewer risks, and it stops you pushing your skill zone out. When you get comfortable and take the pressure off, you still have high standards, but you have more capacity to reach those standards because you're freer and less scared. So that's why letting go of perfectionism actually can improve your work. If there's one thing I'd like you to try that will help you, is letting go of I should be here, or I should do this and I have to do that. It's that idea of what do you want? Because if you ask yourself what you want, you'll be surprised how often it's actually to do a really good job. But asking it in terms of what you want helps it be more joyful and more enjoyable, which means you're probably going to work harder, which means you're more likely actually to achieve that better job. So give that a go. Tip number 2, and this is about laying down neural pathways and fixing them in. Now, neural pathways are a little bit like normal pathways, footpaths, in that when you have no footpath, say you're looking at a field and it's all overgrown and you're trying to find a footpath. I've done this so many times with my kids. There's definitely a footpath on the map, but I can't find it in real life. And trying to find that footpath, trying to forge that footpath is really hard. You're cutting down nettles, you're battling through brambles, and it's really hard work. And it's the same with a neural pathway. The first time you use a new neural pathway, it can feel really hard. It's that level of conscious incompetence. I know I can't do this. And trying to get into conscious competence where you think, yeah, I know I can do this, even if it's hard work. And it can be quite a battle. But just like footpaths, the more you use that neural pathway, the more those brambles and nettles will be trodden down and you'll get bare earth, and the easier it will be to use that new neural pathway. At the same time, the old neural pathway that was easily trodden down and easy to walk along, you might find yourself accidentally walking down there because it was so easy instead of the new neural pathway. But over time, the less you use it, the more overgrown that becomes. And so if you use the new neural pathway again and again, it becomes easier and easier. And that's how you change your habits. That's how you change your go-to strategy for dealing with stress into a different way of dealing with it. So my tip is keep going with the new neural pathway. Keep going with stuff that you've been told works, with the assuming things will be good, stretching your skill zone, because although it feels hard, the more you do it, the easier it gets, and the more that becomes your go-to neural pathway, your go-to thinking pattern. And finally, from my one-to-one clients, what's my tip from that? The healthiest way of getting comfortable in front of an audience is getting comfortable with who you are. So understanding and learning to like yourself is really the key to feeling comfortable in front of an audience. Now that can take hard work. It is about building new neural pathways, about letting go of perfectionism, but it truly is the key. Learn to like yourself and you will find it much, much easier to be in front of an audience. So to conclude, what would I like you to take away from today? Well, a little bit of insight into how what I do works. You hopefully have had an idea of what I do day to day, the fact that I'm running these courses and what I do in these courses and my one-to-one, as well as my supervision and mentoring. It's all part of who I am and how I work and what I try and teach people. So hopefully you can see that change really is possible. You can change the way you approach your performing so that you can enjoy it more and relax more and connect with your audience and give them more. And I hope I've given you some tips to take away. This idea of letting go of perfectionism, being comfortable with who you are and building those new neural pathways by repeating those new thoughts. And even if you go back to the old thoughts, don't worry. That footpath's easy to go down. So forgive yourself and just redirect yourself to the new neural pathway that does help. Talking of that, that is what I'm going to be talking about in the next episode. We're going to be digging into building those neural pathways, how it works, the reason it works the way it works. So keep an eye out for next week's podcast. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Hattie Volker from Find Your True Voice.